everybody.
Nice. Like that. Hello.
Hello. So, Greg, what'd you think of our intro?
I liked it. I liked
Spooky.
it. Nice little music and everything. I liked it. I liked it. It was a good intro. Good one.
Thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you. I worked on it myself. I kind of put it together. I was like, we need a hot intro. We got to make it spooky and.
Yeah. Looks good. Looks good.
So we have our friend here, Greg from FanZcene. How are you?
I'm doing good. How you guys doing tonight?
We're doing good. So
Awesome.
tell us about a little bit about what you do before we start getting into The Exorcist.
Well, over on my channel, I cover a lot of physical media because I'm a huge physical media guy. I love collecting Blu-rays, DVDs, 4K, VHS, all that good stuff. I like talking horror movies. That's one of my main subjects on my channel, horror movies and 80s and 90s nostalgia type stuff. And that's really where I get into. And, from time to time, I'll do interviews and stuff with directors, independent directors. I'm a huge independent film supporter. So, I get a lot of independent directors on my channel and stuff that I talk to, and that's pretty much what I do. Occasionally, I do reviews as well on movies and stuff. So it's pretty much what I do over there on my channel.
Ooh. Well, we are so happy you could join us today for a wonderful review of The Exorcist 3. All right, Kat, you want to kind of introduce what we got in store for our lovely
First,
viewers?
I want to wish everyone a happy National Harry Potter Day. This is why I'm wearing my head wig. So I know Luna, you're Slytherin. What house would you be, Greg?
I don't know. I don't know much about Harry Potter, to be honest with you.
Well, will the Slytherin help him out, Luna? Slytherin's
I
the
know.
the, the badasses.
They're ambitious. No, they're ambitious and cunning, and they're gonna cut your throat if it means they get first in line. And
I,
then Hufflepuffs are like, we're your friendly friends, but we're so scared of everything. We just want to please you, Master. Are you okay? Oh wait, you're not my master. Yeah, those are the Hufflepuffs, and then like Ravenclaws are like I have 100 books and I'm gonna finish them in 2 hours.
That's me. That's me.
That's the Ravenclaws. And then you have the most annoying ones, the Gryffindors. Yeah, most annoying for sure. They're like know-it-alls, like, well, you see. I don't know. I don't know.
We'll,
So
we'll,
you
we'll
read
leave
books?
we'll leave Greg
Yeah.
to the side, and we'll
Yeah.
find out from him later.
Yeah.
Yes. You
Yeah.
gotta update us on this.
Yeah.
What house are you? You can do an online quiz too if you're ever interested. It'll ask you personality questions and it'll sort you in your house. So you should
Nice.
try that quiz.
Yeah.
It's fun.
Yeah.
So we are covering tonight The Exorcist 3, circa 1990, written for the screen and directed by Paul Peter Blatty. He wrote the 1983 novel labeled Legion. So basically, this is a follow up to the first Exorcist. You can completely skip the second one. It's so terrible. Just pretend it doesn't exist. You're not missing any plot points. You can just watch the first one. It'll roll right into this one. Actually, I know Jeffrey Dahmer loved The Exorcist 3, definitely, and he's also a fan of 1 and 2. So, yeah, total nut job. He likes 2, duh, of course. Yeah,
Yeah.
easy.
The heretic. Nobody likes the heretic.
Right? And he's also a fan of Return of the Jedi, so he's definitely loves the control, right? So anyone who can control people either with the Force or with being possessed, he's a big fan of that. And I thought it was interesting that both the Emperor and the Gemini Killer have yellow eyes. So we'll
Yes.
get into that a little bit later. Starring one of my favorite actors, Brad Dourif. I fucking love him.
Ooh,
He's so
Yes.
amazing in
yes.
this.
Yes.
We
So
gotta
let's go
discuss
ahead
that.
and roll the awesome trailer you got for us, Luna, and then we'll get started.
Yes. Ooh.
17 years ago, an extraordinary motion picture touched our most profound, nameless fears. Do you dare walk these steps
Again. Love that.
Be not proud, nor canst thou kill me. Satan grows stronger.
You believe in possession, Father?
He has found a haven.
Come to take a little blood from you, Father.
He has taken possession.
The boy had been crucified.
His web widens.
I've just never seen anything like this in 20 years.
Inside this cell,
The killer drove an ingot into each of his eyes and cut off his head.
inside a man.
Who are you?
I am no one. A man we thought had died 17 years ago.
He is inside with us! He will never get away!
This time you're going to lose. The real terror is back. John C. Scott in William Peter Blatty's The Exorcist 3.
Ooh.
Great movie. Great movie.
Yes. It was so
Yes.
awesome. Personal jinx, you owe me a soda. Remember that shit back in the day? God, I love that. But
Yes.
yeah, so whoa. So there's so much to discuss with this one. It's just like bam, 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 bam.
Yeah.
A lot of symbolism too. So you want me to just start from the top?
Let's take it from the top and then
All
we'll
right.
kind of find discussion points.
So first we have the rowing. A stressed out priest stared at a stairwell. We got Damien, the cop says his name, and then we have reverse fog, and creepy fucking Jesus opens his eyes. Let's
Mhm.
just
yeah.
stop there.
That is
Right?
a very
With-
creepy scene. Yeah, it's like pops, his eyes pops open. Yeah, it's crazy.
Hey Juan. Welcome. It's not so nice.
And
you
then
can join us.
right on cue, right, we roll right into the music. Bam. We're in.
Bam.
It's going.
Mhm.
It honestly, it gets going pretty quickly because you're just kind of, sitting, like you're just sitting there kind of nonchalant, like, yeah, let's look at all the symbolisms. Oh wow, there's fucking Jesus being like, "Arr." And then like, then everything comes and you're like, I already have this unsettling feeling in my stomach, and I think it's
Yeah.
gonna last the whole time. That's how it felt for me.
It's very uncomfortable. The opening, there's like this atmosphere right off the bat of the movie that this movie has a vibe to it that's just like creepy all around. It's like it just jumps right into it, and this is the only other Exorcist movie besides, I guess, I think the new one that just came out that actually uses the Exorcist music from the first movie.
Oh,
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah, and it's
So
only in the
then-
beginning.
Ah,
Y-
yeah, I didn't notice it anywhere
Yeah,
else.
it's not played throughout the movie.
So then we have the camera moves as if it's walking, and then we hear like heavy breathing. And then there's 3 choppers, and then the reflections of 3 choppers. So 3 is a very significant number, and then we all know 6 is the number of the devil. In some cultures, 3 is actually more demonic than 6. So 3, it's like what? The Father, the Son, the Holy Ghost, the
Mhm.
Spirit, right? That's the whole
Yeah.
3 thing. And then we go to 15 years ago today, the father died from the original Exorcist, right? From the first
Yep.
one.
Father Damien, yes.
And then we remember and then 37 times he's seen It's a Wonderful Life. So It's a Wonderful Life really plays a big role in this as
Mhm.
well. And then we see the handprint with the Gemini killer symbol. And then 3 days he's talking. He has this long monologue, the lieutenant, about the fish, the carp,
Yeah.
swimming in his, and I was like,
That
why is that?
that
And then I was
confused
like,
me.
oh, that kind of ties in with the rowing. You know, it's like we're swimming, like we're all just kind of stuck in the sea and
Yeah.
like kind of pawns. Is kind of what that felt to me. I was wondering what you
Yeah.
guys' take was on it.
Yeah, no, yeah, it's a very simple. Because like with the fisherman, Jesus was a fisher of men. He was a fisher of men and stuff. So it's very much in that vein and symbolism. Very Catholic oriented as well with the symbolism with the carp and not showering for 7 days and whatnot. I believe he said a week. Didn't he say a week? If I remember correctly. But yeah, it's very much in that symbolism of in that vein of Catholic and the fishermen of all that and the rowing.
Right. We have Scott in the house saying Exorcist 3 is so underrated. Plus, it has the greatest jump scare in the entire history of cinema.
Yes.
What's up,
Yes.
Oh,
Scott? I know Scott. What's up, Scott?
hi, Scott. Welcome. So glad
Yes,
you
it
could join
does.
us.
It's very yeah. We'll get to that scene. That scene is crazy.
Yes.
That scene is fucked up.
It did what gets to you is because it's so drawn out, and then you expect something to happen, but it doesn't happen when you expect it to happen, and then
No.
when it happens, it gets you.
Yeah,
That's
it
the
does.
true thing of a jump scare that works.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Absolutely. So a lot of the horrible things that happen, they're implied. They don't need to actually show you, but it's more horrific what you can think about in your head. Like we're not really sure what happens to the body. We just see them like picking up a bag over the holy water. So we're like, that's probably somebody's head, being
Yeah,
what we've heard previously,
yeah,
right? About what's been going on. And then we see that he looks at the hand and a finger's missing or something like that, or they was crucified, I'm not sure. But then later on it goes into
yeah,
the Gemini killer's MO, and that's what makes that so significant. So I
yeah.
love that he doesn't like, he lets you kind of draw the lines together so that that intensity can just build.
Yes, it's really what your mind can conceive is so much more frightening than what they show on screen. So when he describes it, what happened to the boy, it's very just terrifying, and you're thinking in his head, and so you really don't want to see that and imagine what it is and everything. So yes, what this movie with because William Peter Blatty was a novelist, and so this movie really plays out like a novel, like you're reading the novel, which we'll get into some of that why that is and some of the changes that were actually made to the movie.
I love you guys because you guys are like buffs. Like you guys pull out the books and the comics and like all this like, and I'm just here like, I like the lighting.
No, you're good with the symbolism and things like
Yeah,
that. Like
yeah.
what I'm going to go into now, we find out that the kid he was injected with a drug, so he was completely aware as everything was happening.
Yeah.
And then we his friends in the hospital, right? His priest friend that he had lunch with before is in room 411. And you know, if you take a 4, you add a 1 and another 1, you get 6. Ah, it keeps happening. Why is this happening? So I love
And
the penguin he brings him though. Isn't he cute?
Yeah, the little penguin.
Aw. And also 411 is the emergency number in the UK. So
And it's
that's kind
our
of
like
like,
information, right? I need information. At least it used to be.
yeah.
Now
Yeah.
you got your
Yeah.
phone, damn it. Do your own research. And then I love he said oh the cigarettes, those things will kill you. They're quiet. Like
Yeah.
I prefer a quiet death, you know, just
Which is funny because both these actors were recast from the original Exorcist. So yeah,
Ah.
yeah, because the detective that George C. Scott plays is actually much larger in the Exorcist novel. His role is much larger, and in the movie, it's like reduced to a couple scenes, I believe. And the actor that played him in the first Exorcist had passed away, so they had to recast with George C. Scott. And I believe the actor that the priest, his friend, is playing that's in the hospital, who's in the first movie as well. he couldn't do the role or something, so they had to recast that priest as well. So those two are directly from the Exorcist movie and the novel.
Ooh.
And the Legion novel.
Nice.
Yes.
And then I love that he says something from Spaceballs. He goes, "Go in peace, my darling. May the Schwartz be with you."
May the
I was like,
Schwartz-
wait a minute. Sure enough, this movie was 3 years after Spaceballs, so I thought that was hilarious. I'm sure that's in the novel. That must have been why he left it in there. Well, wait,
Yes.
it couldn't have been in the novel. The novel was 83. Yeah, so he just
It
added
was
that
for
for
the
this.
movie. Yeah, they changed
Nice.
stuff for the movie and stuff like that.
Interesting.
Because I don't know if you do know, I'm maybe jumping ahead here a little bit, but there's 2 cuts of this movie. There's the theatrical cut, and like I have here, and then there's also the cut that's called the Legion Director's Cut down here, where it's actually shorter than the theatrical cut, and there was changes made because William Peter Blatty wanted it to stick closer to the novel, and the studio wanted a little something else. And this is one instance I actually agree with the studio. So,
yeah, I mean, you're going to title it The Exorcist. People are going to want to see an exorcism.
That's the thing.
Attempt at least.
He didn't. Yes, William Peter Blatty did not want it to be called The Exorcist. He wanted it to be called Legion. And they even approached John Carpenter to direct the movie. And John Carpenter wrote in his memoirs, Life and Times or whatever, that he spent a week with William Peter Blatty, and he himself pitched to him. He said, "Hey, you got to have a third act exorcism, and you let me do that. We can make it big, devilish. We can do all this." And Peter Blatty wasn't having it. And so John Carpenter said, "I could see he wanted to direct this. He wasn't going to change his mind. So I quietly backed away." So if John Carpenter is telling you need a third act exorcist, you need a third act exorcist. Plain and simple.
Yes. I would trust his directive, like, as a director, like his direction, all these directions. I would trust his,
Yes.
For sure.
Big time.
All the directive-y stuff.
Yeah, and watching, like, I think I saw the original cut, but there were extras. So that's kind of what filled in the blanks for me. And I didn't know, but that I found out through the extras that they had to recast for that ending because they had to reshoot.
Yes.
And that's why he's so heavy with the makeup and everything. But they did such a good job. He was walking around on set and people were like thinking he was the original guy. They're like, "Oh, I didn't know he was here." And he's like, "No, I'm not him."
Well, yeah, because like in the original Legion cut, the original actor playing Father Damien from the first movie, he's not in the director's cut at all. They wanted Brad Dourif to be him, which it doesn't work because you see George C. Scott and he's like a man almost in his 70s. And then you see Brad Dourif and he's very young in this. It doesn't work. And according to Brad Dourif, the reasoning that they didn't get the original priest in the first time around was because he had become an alcoholic and he had gotten wet brain and he couldn't deliver big dialogues. But the studio wanted him, so that was another thing the studio brought in. They wanted him to come in, and it works because they came up with the idea of so when the big dialogue needed to be delivered, that was Brad Dourif because that was the Gemini taking over, possessing the father. So the father didn't need to be there; he just needed to be there in between scenes. So it really worked out well.
Ooh.
Yeah.
And then so at the hospital, right? He's leaving his friend and he walks by a statue, right? And we all see it. We're like, "Oh shit, that statue got no head." "Oh no, your buddy. And somehow, because he has those dreams later, he subconsciously saw it, but he didn't register apparently until he was sleeping. And then he wakes up and gets the call. "Yeah, your buddy's."
Yeah. He had been attacked and had beheaded and blood drained and all that, and didn't spill a drop, not even a fingerprint.
No. And I counted. There are 21 vials. And if you add 2 + 1, what do you get? 3. Ooh.
Very rich in symbolism.
Yes.
And It's a Wonderful Life on the wall.
Yes. And I thought, I didn't realize until they said it in the movie that the killer, he doubles his L's. So it was a wonderful with 2 L's, right?
Yes,
Nice.
yes.
Hmm.
I love
I
that.
wonder.
I love that this one is a detective story over just a straight up Exorcist movie. I think that plays in his favor.
Absolutely. And then we have he's investigating and he goes to the catatonic unit. Most of the people are kind of doo doo doo. And she says, "Are you my son?" And then she's like, "You're not my son." And then we hear growling. Right? What?
Yeah, that was like, I'm like, where the fuck is the growling coming from? Was it in her head?
It was it's the demon. It's the possessions of the Gemini killer and everything.
He's already
yes,
starting to get his
yes,
claws into
Claws
his
in there.
mind.
yeah, and it leads him down to Patient X, where he
And
doesn't
then,
see him the first time though.
no, but he hears his name. He calls his name.
Mm-hmm.
And then before like he can go look, they take him away for something. And then we find out. Then we have the doctor, right? The doctor's he's got a speech, and he's like practicing his speech, and
Yes.
you're like, what? Why? Right? We find out later why. But
Yeah.
but I was like, poor dude, he's like scared, and I don't blame him. Like, how scared would you be if you found out that? I don't know what he said he was going to do to him, but I'm sure it was not good.
Yeah, it was not good. Which is funny is about this is when I was coming to this part in the movie as I was watching it at night because I was rewatching it for this, and I started hearing princess music. I'm like, where the hell is that coming from? And I paused the movie, and one of the kids' Kindles was playing music, like princess music, and nobody had touched it. It was plugged in, set to the side. So I yeah, I was like, what? How did that even? I turned it off and then went back to the movie. It was creepy. It was creepy.
Yeah.
I thought you were talking about the scene where he's with the father and you start hearing like a little kid.
No. I was hearing princess music, and it was one of the kids' Kindles here at the house.
Ooh, watch out! Yeah. Watch out!
It was creepy. It was creepy.
Yeah, I there was a few moments where I was creeped out, where I'm like, why do I feel like I have eyes in the back of my freaking head? Like, you know that feeling, that unsettling feeling, like, am I being watched right now? Like,
exactly.
I had that feeling towards this part in particular too. Because like the voices start coming out, and you're like, I don't know, I don't like it.
Big time. That's what it said. Like the movie's it's so unsettling that it doesn't really need to show like scary imagery at all or give you the jump scares. I mean, it delivers on that as the movie progresses, but the way the way it's filmed and like the way the camera moves, just like when the camera's moving down the street and there's just 2 women in the street just for no reason. This is a little unnerving and unsettling because what is that about? And it really doesn't play into the movie. So like the way the camera moves and the way the movie is shot and just the uneasy feel to it, it just makes it scary all around.
You definitely feel like you're being guided by the entity, right? By the demons, like showing you what it wants you to see, and you're like, oh no,
yes.
Maybe I don't want to see that.
Maybe I don't want to see that.
Yes.
I'm not ready. Now we meet. He goes into the room and he starts talking to the father. We see the father first, and then he turns into Brad Dourif, and that's the face that the Gemini killer had at that point. And then like Brad Dourif already has an amazing voice, right? And he's great at that. But then they have to be doing something, maybe you know, Greg, with his voice to amplify it.
They're deepening his voice as he talks, like because he's got that voice, but like it's like the weirdness of like when he speaks. So it's like you'll hear his voice at one point in time, and then they'll like make it like a woman feminist style voice, and then they make it a deeper type voice, and it's just like they're just augmenting, playing with the audio and stuff, making his voice, which makes it much more creepier as well because you hear. I mean, first off, it's Brad Dourif. I mean, it's Chucky. So, and speaking of which, did you catch the Chucky reference in the movie?
Oh no, which one was that?
Oh, you don't catch that, okay?
No.
Like when he's, I think it's on this scene here with the first speech, when he's speeching, and near the end he goes, "It's just child's play," and then it cuts to a red-haired boy in a chair, little red-haired boy
Damn
in
it! I was
pajamas.
wondering what that kid was about.
That's the child's play Chucky reference in the movie, because it had just came out right before this movie.
Oh, it's like a little
Nice.
Easter egg.
It's a little Easter egg, yes.
Nice.
Oh, I'm gonna have to look for that scene now.
Mhm.
Yes, thank you, Greg. I was like,
Yes.
what's with the kid? Like,
Yes.
I'm just
Because
like,
it cuts
okay.
directly when he said it's just child's play, detective, and it cuts directly to the little red-haired
You know
boy in
what?
pajamas.
I did feel that line was a little bit out of place, but I couldn't pinpoint at what it was. Like, I'm like, oh, what do you mean child's play? And then I was like, I didn't like hit until now you said it.
Yes,
Because I was thinking like child's play wasn't even like in his head yet, but apparently I was wrong.
no, yes, I believe the first child's play had just come out not too long before this movie opened.
Oh,
So
nice.
Yes, let me do some detective work here. So
Yeah, 'cause
this
was
movie 90
Mhm.
Child's Play was
It was like 88 or 89.
Oh, it was 80.
88. You're
Yes.
right. You know your
Damn.
years.
Yes,
I'm old.
I'm a movie buff. I'm old.
I don't even want to reveal my age. I'll just say I'm
The
there.
youngest.
Yeah, I'm the youngest of the bunch. I won't say. I'm the baby. I was born in the 90s, so that's all you need to know.
That's when I graduated. God, shut up.
That's funny. But yeah, so what so I have a question for you guys before we start digging more into this movie. What part was the most unsettling to you guys? Because the whole movie was pretty unsettling, but there's one scene in particular that got me.
It's the one. the one that we'll talk
with
about.
the nurse.
Well, I think we're right at that part now. Yeah. So
Okay.
perfect.
Honestly, that is unsettling, but also his dream sequence that he has where he's in heaven or whatever, the waiting room with the angels, because like you got Fabio.
And Fabio's there.
Yeah, you got Fabio. This has got a bunch of cameos in it. If you don't know, there's Fabio, Samuel L. Jackson, Larry King, and
I didn't see Samuel L. Jackson.
Yes, he's in it. I believe he's in the dream sequence there. Yeah, and I can't remember. There was somebody else. I think it's an NBA player. I can't remember. But no, that dream sequence is a little unsettling. Was he's walking through and he's seeing like with the stitches on the people's necks and the little boy that was killed, and he's walking up and he's like, "I missed you." It's a little creepy. It's a little unsettling because it does lead to something like he knows his friend's gone. So yes, that was a little disturbing. The Jesus opening scene with the Jesus eyes and the bleeding and everything is creepy. The scene when he's talking to the one priest and he hears noises and growling and he goes looking around and there's nobody
did
there.
The other priest hear something too? Because
yes,
he
like
just grabbed the drink. He's just like, screw this. Yeah. I'm gonna forget about it.
He doesn't pay no attention really. It's just like, yeah. And then of course the big scene that everybody always remembers and talks about, which is drags because you're waiting. Like I said, you're waiting, and it's just like, what? And then it finally,
what am I looking for? You know, why am I still?
Yeah.
Why is the camera not moved? Right?
Mm-hmm. Because it's set in that one spot in the hallway, and she keeps going into the room and out of the room, and the guy screams like, what's your name? I'm gonna tell on you. And then she walks back, and it's very creepy, and it's weird too, and it's
it
scary.
Gives you that false sense of safety because the cop's right there, and then as soon as she goes in the room, he walks away, but then he walks back in. I'm like, oh god, he's coming back. And
And then he just leaves. Yes. It's unnerving. It's very unnerving.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So what creeped you out the most, Luna?
The head being replaced with Jesus. That was a little bit much for me. I was like,
At the end there. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know why. There's just something didn't feel right. Something didn't feel
That's
right about that.
That is, I agree with you, because when he describes it about the boy, what happened to him, and you don't want to see it, and then they show it for you real quick, just 1 second, then it's replaced real quick. Could they have left that out? Yeah, I think they could, but also at the same time, it comes out of nowhere, and it is very frightening and scary, so you don't expect it. You don't expect to see that after you're told about it. So yes, it is very disturbing and very scary.
Yeah, like if somebody in a movie is just having a conversation about anything in particular, and then they show like a quick glimpse of the thing, and you're like, oh God, why did you have to show that? That kind of felt like that. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
And always when it's a child, right? Children are supposed to be sacred, and then just the first death as a child, and you're like, okay,
yeah,
I guess we're not worried about that now.
Yeah, and it's all perpetrated on revenge for what happened in the first movie, because basically the thing is the devil was impressed by the Gemini killer, and he was pissed off for what happened was as whatever the demon, I can't think of the name,
Ponzu, I think it
Zazu or whatever,
Pazazu.
Pazazu or whatever, being expelled. So he put him, that he set the Gemini killer free into Father Damien, but of course Father Damien blew out the window, fell on steps, so it took him 15 years to repair his brain in the mental ward. So that was sort of like all revenge, and now that he's able to manipulate, it's about various other forms of possession, because the weak-minded in this hospital, the mentally ill, are easy to possess. So he's controlling them to do the killings. So yeah.
That makes sense.
For me, I think what creeped me out the most, I forgot, like I've seen this movie many times, and I forgot about the part with the old lady crying on the ceiling.
Yeah. That's another one that sort of comes out of nowhere as well. It's just all of a sudden, boom, 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 boom. She's on, just crawling around.
Oh my God. Yeah, that's.
And what is she up to? She's just like hanging out. She wasn't a part of the plot to do anything. She's just having a good time.
Yeah, no, that was I was kind of like, what the fuck is that old lady doing?
Well, that's the old lady that was asking him if that was her radio or whatever, and that's the one that dresses as a nurse and goes to his house, because she's being possessed by the Gemini killer at that point in time. Yeah.
It was creepy.
So she changes clothes that quick then, huh?
Yeah,
well, I guess if she could run around on the ceiling, like
yeah, because if you notice, because like when he first gets there, and he's they're showing him the mental patients, and the one mental patient goes up to the young nurse that's sitting there at a desk, and he flashes her, and she turns her head. When the woman's crawling on the ceiling, and he hears it, and then he goes to the office, and that young nurse is laying on the ground dead in her underwear. She's missing her nurse's uniform, so that woman that's crying took her out, put it on, and took off.
Thank you. I didn't connect that. I was just like, just a dead lady,
No. Yeah, that part confused the fuck out of me. But now I'm like, man, that's high fashion. You go, I like your outfit, so I'm just gonna murder you so I can wear it.
Well, they tricks him, because then they call his wife and tell her that there's a nurse on the way, and she needed the nurse's uniform to get out of the hospital. So that's why that all happened. And because that was the demon calling his wife, that wasn't him calling his wife, and that's why they let her into the house and everything.
Because he heard a busy tone.
Yeah, he heard a busy tone. He's trying to call her,
and she's like, oh no.
Yeah. So that's what that is all. And then like when she's got the giant scissor things and it goes right to his daughter's neck, it's like, oh, is she going to cut her head off? And then they pull her back real quick, and it's whoa, that scene is intense as well.
Oh yeah. I didn't like that scene. It creeped me out too. Yeah. Like all these scenes kind of creeped me out though. I'm not gonna lie. It was like kind of unsettling.
Yeah, it's all unsettling. And I love Brad Dourif's second speech when he goes back to talk to him the second time. My gracious me, was I raving that whole scene, like he deserved an award for that scene because he delivers this like giant monologue where he's just like talking about, and then you've invited to invitation to the dance, just like that scene which
Yes.
builds to that is an amazing scene. He gives an amazing performance in that. I just could watch that because you get like, you're so interested, you're sitting there watching it going like, son of a bitch, this guy's good. Because you're watching, he's delivering an acting clinic right there.
Right? I was just mesmerized. I didn't even get a chance to take notes. I was just like,
Yeah.
so beautiful.
It is. It's so good. It's such a great monologue of like evil proportions. It's so good.
True.
And then and he's just like screaming, and he's like, "My gracious, was I raving?" And he just sits back down. It's just like, oh damn. It's so good.
And then he goes sleepy, right? And then we find out that the nurse has been watching his brainwaves, and he's super active when he's completely knocked out. It's like, no.
Yeah. Exactly.
Weird stuff going on.
Mm-hmm.
And then we see the redheaded kid again, but it's the child. And then he thinks that she's going to like hurt the child, but the nurse is just giving him a toy. And I swear, through the whole movie, I thought that nurse was up to no good.
Yeah.
What did you guys think?
Yeah. She's the red herring of the movie because she's designed to make you think that maybe she's in on it because of how she's mean to him. Is that, oh, it's not her and it's not that kid. It's my kid, my daughter. She's a dancer. That's what he meant by invitation to the dance.
I didn't get that she was a dancer.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's the whole point. That's why he says, are you sure you want to do this, detective? That's an invitation to the dance. Is what he tells him.
But where in the movie do they show us that she's a dancer?
When in the beginning of the movie, when he comes home to his wife and he's talking to her and everything, and her mom's there, and his daughter comes downstairs, she kisses him, she says, "Where are you going?" "I'm going to dance class." And she goes there.
Oh, damn it. Nice.
Yes.
Oh my God, we need Greg on more.
Thank you, Greg. I know he's filling in blanks, and I was like very avid. I have like 6 pages of notes, but like while I was writing, I'm sure that's when I missed shit. I was like, damn.
So, Greg, you doing anything next week? No, I'm just kidding. we always need more love, so you could always come down anytime.
Yes.
Okay, so and then the father has, then the other father, like the bird dies. He has like a baby bird. He's like trying to nurse back to health, right? Sitting in the window, and the bird dies, and the wind blows. And I guess that's his calling. He knows. He's like, oh, gotta do an exorcism. Let me get my gear.
Yes.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I didn't get how he came to terms with, like, oh yeah, there's a bird in the window now. It's time for an exorcism. How do you think he led up to that? Do you think it was just watching all these things unfold and then him finally making that decision, or?
Well, technically, the father with the white hair that goes and does this, which comes out of nowhere, that's a reshoot. Because they weren't doing The Exorcist. William Peter Blatty, his novel and the original movie is a bit anticlimactic the way he wanted it because of how it ends, and the studio wanted the exorcism. So this preacher is only mentioned one time in the movie, and it's the scene where he's talking to where the detective is talking to the one priest. When he's hearing the noises that we mentioned earlier, he says, "Oh, our parish or parishioner at the hospital has white hair. Some say he did an exorcist, and that's why his hair turned white." It's the only time he's mentioned, and then all of a sudden he just shows up on the third act, final, ready to do an exorcist. So he's a character that was added for this movie that kind of just comes out of nowhere.
Oh, that made sense because I'm like, how the fuck did he get the idea? Like, what? It just seems very out of place to just be like, hey, the main plot or the main act where we're gonna do this crazy exorcism and shit, and the person doing the exorcism you've only heard one line from, or not even from them, you know.
No, you don't even see him till then.
No, it's like so that's why I was like, where did he come? Where did this come from?
It's a line. It's a
He's
line.
hardcore too, man.
Yeah. He's ready. Yeah, and it's a line. If you miss it, you don't. Then you won't get it right away. So yeah, and then like when he gets stuck to the ceiling and he's pulling off his skin, that's creepy. That's scary.
Oh my god, that grossed me out.
Yeah, that reminded me a little bit of Hellraiser. With
Mm-hmm.
that was like a little Hellraiser nod or something.
Yes. And then you
Yeah.
think he's out for the count, but oh no, he's still kicking ass for the Lord. Like,
Yeah. Nice, dead alive, brain dead. I like it.
yes.
Nice.
I kick ass for the Lord. Oh man, I love that. I love that line.
Great movie.
And then we see the fire, the cobras. I thought that was cool, but he's just like, I got a snake on my. No.
Yeah. He's
The
going for it.
prince doesn't even fade.
He's trying to stay focused.
Definitely focus.
If
He's
you
very
lose
The
focus,
end seemed rushed.
yeah.
You
Yes,
guys
it
feel
was.
the end was
It was a
rushed?
bit because, as I said, they had already filmed the ending of the movie. They already had it complete, and so they decided that they needed the Exorcist ending. The studio made him do it, so Fox came in and gave him an extra $4 million to shoot the ending, and so they had to rewrite the ending and do the exorcism. So that's why it does feel a little rushed and a little out of place at points. But I think in the end overall it works compared to what was originally supposed to be the ending.
Yeah. I think comparatively to what could have been, this is good. But I wish it was a little bit longer and we went into the father's like a little bit more because he seemed like a badass and I don't feel like his character
Yes.
was given the right love that it deserved, you know?
Yes. One guy doesn't want to do the exorcism, and when the studio wants them, and so they have to put stuff together real quick.
And it's sad too because I think William did a beautiful job directing
Oh,
this,
he
and
did.
he didn't do anything else after this. He was
No,
like,
no.
right, I'm done with you guys. Like, no,
Yeah,
screw
yeah.
you guys, I'm going home.
I'm going
Like,
home.
let's forget this.
Do you think the
But
studios pissed him off so bad? He's like, yeah, I'm not doing this again.
I
Oh,
think yes, from what I've read, he did get mad, but at the end he also says, "I like it." He says, "I like it now." So Brad Dorff, however, he does not like it. He does not like the ending and I don't blame him. I don't blame him because originally he was the patient the whole movie, so a lot of his stuff was actually sort of diminished. So I don't blame him for saying he doesn't like it. I don't blame him.
So how did the original cut end then?
So in the original movie, Legion, he just shoots him. Plain, that's how it ends.
That's what I
Like
was
the detective,
figuring.
there's no priest, there's no exorcism. He just comes in, they have one more standoff, and he just shoots him, and it's over.
He doesn't even try to fight back.
No, he just shoots him over. And in the original novel, it's even more anticlimactic because the whole purpose of the Gemini killer is that he hated his Christian father who was a bit abusive to him.
Yes, I noticed that a lot of daddy stuff, and I was like,
Yes.
wait.
Yeah, well, it's very Catholic. Like I said, it's very Catholic. And so, like, his dad was an alcoholic who was a Christian Catholic, kind of abused him a little bit. And his whole purpose of why he killed people was to take it out. That was him getting revenge to his dad. It's like, oh, so you're a Christian, you believe in this? I'm going to kill people, and just to make your life hell.
And why did their name have to start with a K?
I don't remember why in the novel or whatnot, but I think maybe it has something to do with that. But in the novel, like, his dad drops dead of a heart attack unexpectedly while he's in a confrontation with the detective. And so when his dad dies, he dies. Because his whole point of living and what he was doing there is gone. So he immediately, and it's over. So it's very anticlimactic either way. It plays better in a novel setting than it does in a movie. So that's why I said I agree with John Carpenter. And this is one time where I agree with the studio where, yeah, you need a big climactic exorcism to finish off the job. So
yeah, I think so too. If it would have just been like him shooting him, I think it would have lost some of the real Exorcist vibes. I wouldn't have even called this an Exorcist movie.
Yeah.
And then the kid, I thought it was really cool when the lightning and then hell kind of came up to like take the father because he's like, I believe in all this shit because I'm a cop and I see this crap every day. You know, and it's hell comes up to get him. But I really love that. But I don't know why the kid had a police boys club shirt. Is that was that the
he
connection with him?
beginning because they said, "Did you know the boy?" And he said, "A little bit, yes." He was in the Police Boys Club,
Okay,
so he knew
that's
the
what I
Detective
thought, but
Doom.
I didn't remember like where it was.
Yeah, when in the beginning when they first when he's talking to his the priest friend at the bar.
Nice.
Ooh.
Yeah.
So much great dialogue in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Like a lot.
Like I miss like this where there's some good dialogue where you don't need a big action scene every once in a while. You can have this really great scenery chewing actors. Like I love George C. Scott because he's always like in almost every movie he does, he's like this man that's just on the verge of just exploding and saying "fuck you all."
Yeah.
He's just like one bad day away from just screaming at everybody. So I love.
I could definitely see him doing Falling Down. Just like
Oh my god, that's true.
Yeah. So I love him, and of course Brad Dourif is amazing in this, and like the whole cast in this is just like a one banger after another. So
Yeah, that's very true. Very good cast. Well, yeah, it was well cast. This movie.
Very much so. I mean, like I said, you just cannot beat the interrogation scenes between George C. Scott and Brad Dourif when they're going back and forth. When he's just listening to him, you can't beat those scenes. Are amazing, especially the second one. Like I mentioned, it's just like the whole. It's just you're enthralled in it in the story. It's perfect.
absolutely.
Yes.
I love it.
Is there a scene that you guys really, really, really liked? Like that you were like, whoa.
That would probably be the scene I really, really liked. It was the second interrogation with Brad Dourif when he just goes into that big monologue. I love it. It's just it's a beautiful scene.
Yeah.
Perfect dialogue.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I think I like the first one a little bit more though because I was like, yeah, I'm just so excited to see him and just killing it.
Yeah.
But yeah, what were you saying, Luna? Sorry about that.
No, it's okay. I kind of liked the way it absolutely ended with him just saying like, "Do it now," kind of thing. Just like, "Hey, this is the only way to do this. This is how it's gonna have to be." He kind of accepts his fate and then he just goes. I like that because like you see a little bit of humanity that's left in him, like kind of phase out of the of the demon that is possessing him, and he just goes, do it now, like kind of thing, like, and he doesn't say it loud or anything, he just says it very softly, like he's resigned. And I don't know, that really resonated with me because he's just like come to terms with everything that's going on and it's kind of done with the bullshit.
Yes. Yeah, I mean it's sort of redemption. It had to be done.
And I love that the nurse says that she heard another voice that was the original priest, his actual voice, and he said a couple things to her, and then the last thing was "kill me," right, or "kill it." I think which I'm not sure which it was. It was "kill it" or "kill me" or something like that. So finally, he got what he's been. I mean, imagine 15 years while he was rebuilding his brain cells. That had to be torture. Like slowly realizing new things each day, and then oh great, I'm a puppet.
Yeah. And it's
for
like
evil.
yes, because it's like they said he was like the most like honorable preacher, whatever, that he was like, and he was seeing these horrible evil things that were done as if he did them. So like they were determined to punish him for what he did in the first movie. It was like you said, it's all revenge from the devil on him for what he did.
Devil's a dick.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. Devil's a dick.
Yes.
Never any fun, just pain and suffering. I just roll my eyes.
And then they filled that poor nurse with what was it? No, not crucifixes.
Oh yeah,
rosaries.
Rosaries. Yeah.
I wonder where they got the rosaries. So there's like a wholesale store.
Yeah. That's another thing that's creepy that you didn't see, like when they described the one kid and then they described her organs were removed and replaced with rosaries. Like, you don't want to see that. You hear it described and it's just like, it's in your head, and it's like, the more you think about it, that's what it's all about. It's very cerebral. Very cerebral.
And then their face as they're delivering it, as they're telling you what happened, is just amazing acting, as we've stated many times.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and there weren't like rosaries in their butt. You know, they weren't. They were just like very like
anal beads.
Prayer beads in the bum. Oh,
anal
beads.
Oh, going to go to hell.
No, we don't want to do that. But this always takes a turn for the worst, and here we go. But yeah, you know, they were very like poker face, very like, this is what we found.
That's what
and
it
it's
is.
like, oh god,
like, you know it's bad. You're like, just spill it. Come on. You're like,
they have to play it very straight and very serious, because that way it sets the tone. Now, if the cop was like, "Well, we found her and she was all cut up and they had rosary beads in her, and it's crazy, man, it's crazy," and then you'd be like, "What?" So it has to be very solemn. You're not going to like it. All of her organs was removed, replaced with rosary beads. She was injected with that stuff. She knew it the whole time. And then that's when George C. Scott's like, "Son of a bitch." He's just like ready to go. I love that. And then he's ready to go down there and just like, "What did you do?" That's what I love about it.
And he breaks his nose.
Yeah. He breaks his nose and just smacks him the first time around.
Oh man. This movie has so many things: nose breaking, children deaths, fucking rosaries and organs, decapitations of heads. Like, it's just, God, fucking old ladies on the ceilings. Like, it's got everything.
There was no titties, but I saw booty. Yeah.
No booty. No boobs though.
No. You know, I like the booty.
I like the boobies. So
team boobies right here. We're team boobies.
I like the boobies.
Yeah, no boobies in this one.
As he's nestled between them.
Oh, that's so funny.
I like boobies.
Can't blame him. Can't
blame you. Yeah, can't blame you. So now for the best question of the hour. If you could change one thing about this movie, the introduction, but whatever the case may be, what would you change about this movie? The lighting, it doesn't matter. Just shoot.
If I'm honest, I would have preferred more with the preacher at the end that would try to do the exorcism, or they could have, since the detective went and found the Exorcist book and he was reading it, he could have tried to attempt it, the Exorcist himself, and that could have showed when he got his faith, because the whole movie he's like, you don't know if he has faith or not, and that could have really set him up to like, okay, you have to have faith to do an exorcism, and maybe since he's not ordained, he's not a preacher, but maybe he could try this and save his friend. That, or expand the character of the priest that tries to do the exorcism, because he walks in like, we're going to get this shit done. So he maybe needed a little more backstory. That's probably really all I would change, because other than that, I think it's done very well. And I think even for the studio interference and have the last minute change of the ending and replacement of the father coming in to do the overscenes with Brad Dourif, I think it all works very well, other than you had to tweak the Exorcist ending just a little bit with either take that character out or up that character. One of the two.
So I think would have been cool, going back to the prayer beads. You know how they showed like the little tiny couple second clip of the head and the Jesus thing and all that.
Mm-hmm.
It would have been interesting if they did the same thing with the prayer beads, just like showed a little glimpse of it. I think it would be very dramatic. and I think it would be very cool. Like from a makeup and effects perspective, I would have loved to have seen that though.
No.
Because it would have added a little more gore, like a little more, horror sprinkles on it, and it would have kept up with the trend, But
She
I don't
wants
know.
more
That's just
gore.
me.
My
I
girl.
want more. I want more gore, like just a little bit more, just because you're gonna describe this epic ass scene like there's prayer beads and instead of organs, and I'm like, where? Let me see. I want to see.
That's what I like. That's what I liked about it though, because it was all cerebral in your head, so you didn't need to show it. But that's what I mean. I get where you're coming from as somebody who's a fan of horror and gore. I get where you're coming from.
No, just not even like a huge like fucking zoom in on that shit. Just a tiny little more, so just a tiny little like zoom
Just some prayer
pan
beads
in,
and
pan
covered in
out, like,
gore.
yeah, like just something so we could go, oh, even like those tape those crime scene tape, and just like kind of like a little just like a little outtake of that. That would have been cool, but I don't
I
know.
love it. I love it.
What about you, Ken?
I wish that we could have seen William knowing right away, okay, I have to put an exorcism in this. I would have loved to see how he would have done the story in the film cohesively with the same actors, knowing at the forefront, okay, I have to do this, I have to add this. I'd just be very curious to see what he would have come up with.
Yes. I agree with you. And the sad thing about that is he didn't even want this to be called Exorcist because part 2 flopped. He said, if you call this The Exorcist, this is not. And sure enough, they called it The Exorcist 3, and it didn't do well itself because of that stigma. He wanted it to be called Legion, or he wanted it to be called Exorcist Legion or Exorcist 1990 or something like that, just to like differentiate it. Yeah. And originally, him and William Friedkin, who directed the original movie, was after the first movie hit, they came up with the idea for this movie together to do this. It was originally going to be the sequel, and then Friedkin left, and so he just turned it into a novel. And then once the second movie came out and flopped, they came back to him and said, "Hey, let's try to do a third one, and let's do your novel." And so he returned the novel.
They just wanted the franchise. They just wanted to rebuild the franchise.
Yes, they wanted
That's
to rebuild
all they cared about.
And so by the time he got to that point, he no longer wanted an Exorcist by the third movie. But I agree with you. I would like to have seen him have been on that page to have an Exorcist from the beginning, because I guarantee you it would have been a bit different, and it probably would have been a little more well organized.
Definitely more dramatic. Not just like all at once, everything. You know, a little more drawn out.
Yes, very much.
So what do you got coming up, Greg, to let our fans know and your fans know what you got coming up in the future?
Yes, as far as I haven't checked my emails yet, but I'm pretty sure it's still on tap. I should tomorrow be talking with director Michael, what's his name? Michael Calio and producer James Hancock. They're making a movie called Aliens versus Rednecks. They're launching their Indiegogo.
Nice. Yeah, I saw that on Indiegogo. I was like, hey, guys, hit me up.
Oh yes, I'm friends with them. I'm I'm their number one fan, by the way. I haven't interviewed them before, but they're getting ready to do the stuff on their Indiegogo or Kickstarter. I can't remember what it is. I should be talking with them live tomorrow, and they got something to announce with the deal and everything, because they want to make old school movies again. You know, practical effects, B movies, sci-fi movies, horror movies. From the independent thing outside of the studio, because they're tired of the studios always telling them no, and that this can't be made because it's not a franchise. It's not this. It's going to cost this $300 million. So they've decided that screw that shit. We're going to do our own. So, yeah.
Nice. So I want to share for our lovely viewers that are watching. This is his channel, Greg's channel.
Yes.
So you guys want to check it out. He has really high tier quality entertainment. So you guys should definitely check it out. There's a lot of really good stuff on here. So
hey,
yeah.
Boobies. Boobies.
Boobies? Oh,
You miss
wow.
boobies?
Boobies. Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Sadly, those have all been hit by YouTube because I can't talk boobies. Heaven forbid I talk boobies on my channel.
Oh no.
They're limited
no.
ads. Oh, you mentioned that there's naked women in this movie dancing. You can't do that.
No, the overlords.
Yeah.
What can you do?
No.
All right, so we're going to do. I'm going to pick have a random number generator, and this will help us identify what movie we're going to review next week. So I'm going to click the magic button now. Page 189.
189.
Let's see what
Dun,
it's
dun,
going to
dun,
have us
dun.
review.
Dun 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 dun. Oh, passed it. Oh.
The moment of truth. What are we going to review, guys?
189.
Yeah.
Private Part.
Private Parts.
Private Parts.
Is that not the Howard Stern movie?
Private Parts.
Yes. Wait.
Oh.
Showed us his 1972.
Private
I don't
Parts.
think I've ever heard of that one.
1972. The most bizarre voyage into the psychosexual. Ooh.
Oh God, it's a horror comedy.
Yay!
It's a 1972 horror comedy. It's an hour and a half. Yes, I love movies that are an hour and a half. Yeah, it's apparently. Let me see where it's at. It's on Apple TV, YouTube,
Nice.
Amazon Prime. So
It says is a teenager with a tendency to peep on her older sister and her boyfriend while they're having sex.
oh no! What?
I've never heard of this one.
Are we gonna watch another Pin like the?
I don't know. This
God,
one sounds
Pin,
great.
the mannequin Pin movie was just fucking creepy, and now I guess Private Parts is going to be a little fun, a little weird, but we'll see. We'll see.
Hey, you might get to see some boobs, so that's always a plus.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
there'll definitely be boobs in here from what I can tell. Oh no, oh no, I gotta show you.
We
guys
have a
real
burlesque
quick.
dancer that's been hitting us up to be on our show. Be like, hey,
Nice.
join us. We'll talk about boobies.
So, yeah, I looked up Private Parts 1972, and I'm getting this from IMDb. So, this is gonna be a really, really, really bizarre movie. I can already tell. And it's like a weird sex doll thing. I don't know, but it's gonna be really weird, and
Very
I don't
weird.
know. I don't know, but thank you, random number generator, for making our life really weird.
Yay!
So thank you so much, Greg. You've been a phenomenal guest.
thank
You
you.
gave us so
you.
much information tonight. So yeah, guys, without further ado, we're going to wrap this episode. Come back next week as we discuss weird things like Private
Check 'em
Parts.
And we'll have to tune in tomorrow to see Greg's show and see what aliens. What is it? Aliens versus
Is it Aliens versus Rednecks? I think it's Aliens versus Rednecks. I always get the title confused. I don't know if it's Rednecks versus Aliens or Aliens versus Rednecks. I can't remember.
It's always aliens first.
Yeah.
Aliens are always cooler than rednecks. So.
Yeah. They're great guys. I'm good friends with them. I'm good friends with them. They're great guys. Michael has a documentary coming out about My Dinner with Leatherface, about the actor Gunnar Hansen who played Leatherface.
Right.
He's got a documentary coming out about that. And he's good friends with Bruce Campbell. He actually filmed the documentary for the movie My Name is Bruce. The behind the scenes for that. So yeah, they're good guys. They're good people. So I'm looking forward to re-talking with them again tomorrow about this, what they got finally coming, because their Indiegogo, I think, is getting ready to launch, and they have something to announce. So,
Ooh.
Yeah.
Guys, tomorrow, what time?
I believe 2 p.m. Eastern. I believe.
Ooh, 2 p.m. Eastern.
Yes.
Come on down, check Greg out, and see you guys next week for some weird shit called Private Parts. See you guys next time.
Bye.
Bye.
Hello, boils and ghouls. It's your old pal, John Kassir, the voice of the Crypt Keeper. And I want to thank you for listening to Delight and Fright with your hosts, Luna and Cat, a podcast for outcasts.